shield drop, haste module. Both of us taking the haste module. My opponent drops some Wraiths, and I'm thinking about how I can counter these Phoenixes. He goes for range on the Wraiths. I'm actually not that sure what the Wraiths are actually for. I guess Wasps are kinda denied because Fortress Anti-Air Barrage exists. I do move one of the Scorpions to the side to counter the incoming Fortress. And my opponent starts selling the Sledges. They are really not going to do anything here into these carry Arclights. So what do? I still have a lot of money left. He puts the... Yeah, he puts the haste module here. Or I reposition this one again. And instead I drop some marksmen. Okay. They can deal with both the Phoenixes and the Wraiths. I kinda don't want to hit that button because it's super expensive. Also, at all my upgrades, it is starting to become that time of the match. One missile in front to delete the spam. Carry Arc and Scorpion absolutely going to town on a fortress. And this Arc is just on its own, holding the entire flank back. And if I give it some more support, it will actually start winning that flank. My opponent gets completely annihilated on this side. Fortress will not live for any longer. Tower debuff is coming in, and that means that, well, take a guess. I win this round, and not by a little. Second tower debuff ensures that I'm not losing anything, really. My opponent is down to about 1,800 health, but the battle is far from won yet. Top supply, round 7, with that price tag? No. Both of us going for the nano repair kit. My opponent adds fortress range. I put it on one of my Scorpions. I guess that is the best unit to use it for. Though technically some of these Arclights are... No, not even remotely. They don't have that amount of health yet. They need to gain a lot more levels for that. I guess this Arclight, if any Arclight, this Arclight could definitely benefit from that greatly. I start dropping an additional Arclight and putting it into that flank. Unfortunately, these Phoenixes will aggro on it. If I didn't, that would actually be amazing. Because it would actually also go up against some of these Mustangs, and it would pull this pack of Crawlers, and then it could potentially take the tower. Like with that range and damage, it definitely can do that very quickly. I do add range on the marksmen because they were running in front of the Arclights. And I do put a level on this tower so it doesn't immediately fall. This Arclight here is kind of holding the entire flank, I guess. I now moved it out of this area. Maybe I should have gone more heavily into it, but I feel like my opponent has committed enough forces to now guard against a pack of Crawlers. Range on the fortress is actually pretty good here. A lot of Stormcaller missiles impacting. Unfortunately, this unit has been locked onto and will die very quickly. This thing is healing, but against that amount of fortress damage, it's not going to matter all that much. My opponent is actually pushing through by clearing my units a lot more quickly this time around. That said, there isn't all that much left for him. Mostly just fortresses. But all my carry Arclights have been destroyed already. There was nothing in front of them. So my opponent takes this round, and he does take it quite convincingly. Down to about 1,400. I wish it was 4,000. Senior manufacturing comes out, of course. My opponent does pick it. Very good for him. In theory, another redeployment. Mobile beacon as well. So I guess for aggro players, this is kind of a grab bag of everything you could possibly want. This Arclight has not accomplished anything. My opponent does finally sell the tanks and put the enhancement module on this fortress, which actually means I think he now made a profit of this module, but not much. I definitely think he should have sold these tanks much earlier. I do end up dropping some additional Stormcallers. I need to get rid of my opponent's chaff a lot more quickly. The Arclights will be able to delete everything else. I definitely should reposition this Arclight. I guess if I were to reposition the higher level Arclight here, I could actually win that flank, because higher level Arclight against a Wraith, I think that could work. But not on the round spawning in. On the... yeah, and I guess after that you can prepare, so it's probably not worth it. Instead, I decide to move these crawlers back so that Wraith has to travel for longer, and these fangs have to travel longer, and that crawler has to travel longer, and hopefully that fortress will be exposed a lot more. Missiles now coming down, taking out chaff wherever they can, and my opponent's fangs melt. Without the chaff, the Wraiths are basically locked onto instantly. However, will it be enough? The Phoenixes are absolutely destroying the carry Arclights before they get destroyed by the marksmen. There's not much left for my opponent, but also this fortress is healing and it's level 2 and it will be level 3. So in the end, I still only have a bunch of Stormcrawlers and marksmen. Now the fortress here is probably going to die, I hope. Yep, it is dying at least. My Arclights are not enough yet. Hacker comes out. Definitely worth a thought, especially into this fortress and with, what's it called? I forget. With the additional high-level healing fortress here. My opponent is apparently trying to finish it. He is investing into Photon Whirlwind Rhinos. I instead go for the Overlord. And I want to say that this is my biggest mistake of the match, alongside probably with this Arclight, but that Arclight kind of was cheap. I don't think it matters too much. I should have probably invested into something better, and that is the actual mistake. I go for the Overlord, but I'm kind of thinking, this flank isn't protected a whole lot more. Maybe I can do something here, because that Wraith is going to get eaten by the Overlord, just like that. It's a level 3 Overlord. It should hopefully survive this range. It's not doing too much damage, but I guess it's still doing a lot of damage. And with the rest of my money, I'm not sure what to do. I reposition the crawlers in front so that the Wraith has something else to clean up before that happens. This way, the Overlord should definitely survive. I can level the Scorpion, and with the item, I think it's worth it. I now invest into range on the Scorpions. Unfortunately, that also means that these Arclights are kinda the lowest range thing, or at least very similar range. I now invest into a lot more Scorpions. I think the Arclights are kinda not as good anymore. And I do put these Scorpions here, not knowing that these units are coming in. I'm putting them against this fortress. So the Scorpions are firing away. Fortress shields are not good against Scorpions with level 2, honestly. This is taken out fairly easy, and that was the kind of big move that my opponent wanted. Now I have a lot of Stormcrawlers left. I have some Marksmen left. I have something in front of my tower. Unfortunately, this is the mistake I was talking about. The Fangs with shields are just tanking the Overlord forever. So I'm not getting a quick and cheap tower debuff. Very unfortunate. My opponent is getting that tower, and that means this fortress is healing its way back to full. And there isn't all that much damage until the tower debuffs come in. Then it starts melting rather quickly against the leveled units here, especially these level 3 marksmen and the carry Arclight. And of course the level 2 Stormcrawlers doing insane damage too. Advanced Firepower or Amplifying Core, also Incendiary Bomb, but against my opponent's shield, probably not that worth it. My opponent, of course, levels this fortress, so he now has made a pretty penny of the enhancement module. I guess when you're going for giants, it's definitely worth it. Amp Core on this, it's basically 3 fortresses, all of them with bonus stats and enhancements. I moved the Overlord away because I realized, okay, yeah, this is not happening. HP is looking super balanced right now. I think you can't ask for more than 53 units of difference. I'm putting the Advanced Firepower on that Scorpion here. There's double shot on the Scorpions, which means they will definitely hurt these fortresses a lot if they get to shoot at them. My opponent does add a missile here. It will at least get rid of the crawlers. I kinda never got around to getting rid of that Arclight or putting something in front of it. Ah, now I do. Now did I reposition or sell it? I guess I sold it. Anyhow, I have some more money left. Of course, it is the round where everybody needs to buy their upgrades. I end up dropping some missiles here to destroy these crawlers. This is going to be the final round. And compared to my first game of never winning a single round against Salt Monkey, this one felt so much better. Like it was night and day. Look at how these units are popping. Now my opponent's units are all going into the fire, but the fortresses have range and the Wraiths are definitely helping a lot. There is unfortunately no anti-air here and still enough chaff. So my opponent's units, or my opponent's phoenixes are actually winning this side. And the fortress will take out the tower. No, it's retargeting onto the Scorpion. Scorpion does get destroyed, but the fortress also gets destroyed. I have one more marksman left, but unfortunately tower debuff comes in. And that is a level 4 fortress, which will get the other tower, and thus win the entire match. Oh, that was close. If I had gotten this fortress down, if I maybe had put an additional... Like, if I had put this damage here in the middle, maybe that Scorpion would have died a lot more quickly. It's hard to say. I should have probably put it on this one. I think there definitely wasn't much in the way of me winning this. I think if I had done something more effective than this failed Overlord flank, I could have won in round number 9, I think it was. But I didn't. And thus, my opponent wins. Unfortunate, but definitely a super close match, and definitely a cool match, if I say so myself. This was a lot of fun. Next time, definitely check if the Overlord is going to be shooting at some flanks for the entire duration of the fight, because then this flank is not going to be worth anything other than taking out, I guess, the Wraith here. So, thank you very much for watching and listening, and until next time.